You're listening to The Credit Pros on Real Estate Radio New Jersey with local credit experts Damon DiCrescenzo and attorney Jason Kaplan. Now, here's Jason and Damon.
Welcome back to our third segment. This is The Credit Pros on the Real Estate Radio Network. It's me, it's Damon. We have special guests here, and we're just kicking butt, taking names.
Kicking butt, taking names, chewing gum, and we're all out of chewing gum. If you're just joining us, we've had some awesome information from Ted, the founder of Network Plus, about how you need to network. And I'm looking forward to speaking with anybody that wants to network with me. Give us a call on our off-air line, 973-771-5118. The Credit Pros speaks to you about your credit, your finances, and how to keep your money in your pocket.
And I didn't really get to speak last segment. Did I cut you off?
No, but what's new? I try to avoid you speaking.
I didn't really get to speak last segment because Damon was getting kind of into it, but I'm telling you right now that these networking functions, I never went to them before, and I've never done them. I was never a subscriber to them. I'd rather go home and watch TV and fall asleep. But they are absolutely fantastic. Not only do they stimulate the mind, but they definitely stimulate your business. It's amazing what kind of people show up to this and what kind of relationships can be built.
Yeah, there's a lot to say about being on your A game. And if you go through these motions again and again, there really is a certain amount of personal growth that comes from it because you learn how to be able to present yourself and be able to speak to new people, to be able to explain what it is that you do in basic terms and be able to help other people. All of that not only builds your business, but your personal growth as well. Again, 973-771-5118 or on the web at creditrepair.to. So,
we were going through 10 tips in the first segment, and we really only got to about like 7 or 8. There's a couple that I think are very important, and I think you have some experience with the 8th one, Damon.
Yeah, here's an interesting one. Find your missing money. And believe it or not, there are many, many people that have missing money. And I'm not talking about change in your sofa cushion. I'm talking about real money, and it's outside your house. But it makes sense to see if you're owed anything. Many states have joined with the National Association of Unclaimed Property Administrators. That's a mouthful, but they help to identify unclaimed property. So what is unclaimed property? So bank accounts. How about stocks? How about bonds? How about dividends? If you go to missingmoney.com, guys, write this down, missingmoney.com. It will give you a free search of unclaimed property. So remember 10 years ago when you lived in another state and you had that bank account that had $46 in it, you never closed it and you moved. Well, that bank account is still there, except it probably continued to grow with compound interest, and now it's probably more money than you had remembered. But that's still your money, and you should go and get it. And I mentioned to you that I did this for my pop, and you should do it for your loved ones, not only for yourself, because it only takes a minute, missingmoney.com. But I found a few $1,000s for my pop. Unbelievable. If a loved one dies and leaves money in the will, and they're not able to find you, and it goes through probate, and that money is still your money. You have a right to get it. You have a right to find it. And you have a right to keep it.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure about fees with missingmoney.com, but...
Yeah, well, the state only guards your money in situations like that. If someone passes away and it goes into probate, they don't necessarily gain ownership of it. So those things basically stay in trust with the state until the person comes forward. So
if Aunt Molly had AT&T stock from 1913 that continued to spit out dividends, and then she died in some old age home somewhere, and left it to you, her last living heir, you, there is money to be had. And probably a party to follow.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then here's number 9, okay? Cut your unnecessary expenses. And I don't mean go out to dinner one less time a week or buy one less outfit for the month. When I'm talking about cut your unnecessary expenses, I mean the bills that you have to pay. There's competition out there. There's deregulation every day. It's not just Ma Bell with the phone company, and nowadays it's not even just one utility company you can go to. There is price wars out there, and you can cut expenses monthly, hundreds of dollars, by changing cable companies, changing phone companies, going with the deregulated utility company now.
And negotiate. I love this one because... as the year goes by and as time goes by, you find yourself enrolling into a lot of different things you're probably not familiar with. How many people joined the gym come around New Year's resolution time And then 3 years later, you forget that you have that gym membership, but they're continuing to bill you, especially at these low rates that these gym memberships are charging you now. How about the company that you have, I don't know, Verizon perhaps, Fios, where you have this phone service that's bundled with it, but you live by yourself and 9 out of 10 phone calls are on your cell phone. Why do you need it? Why do you need it? Maybe you needed it when you got it. Do you need it today? It's a good time for you to take a look at all of those bills that you continue to pay out and be mindful of the bills that are being automatically debited to your credit card or your debit card, because those are the easiest ones to forget that you have, because if you're not itemizing your statement, they're continuing to bill you, and that's why those paperless billing things that really get you, because you don't even know that they're billing you.
Yeah, absolutely. And my girlfriend uses it all the time, but Groupon, which is a website, you'll be surprised as to how many deals and how many savings on things you use every day. Coupons go up there, all the time. Half off movie theaters, half off dinners, 10% off of a visit to the salon. So what you end up doing is you save a lot of money just by going onto that website and pre-purchase your activities.
Let me go off on a tangent here for something. I don't want you to lose the frugalness that's come into fashion this last 2 years. I think that it's wonderful that as a country, frugal is the new in. It's hip to save money, even so much so that the biggest websites now are like Groupon, where it makes sense to save money. What concerns me, though, is that as of recent, it seems as though credit card balances are starting to go up. Spending on big ticket items are starting to go up. Car sales are starting to go up, and I think that people are loosening up. But what I don't want you, our loyal listener, to do is to go back to that old mentality that you once had maybe 3-4 years ago when money was falling out of the sky, because it's a different world. And I respect people when I see them, that they have that sense of frugality about themselves, that they're mindful of their pocket, because it shows that they care about themselves and they care about their family and they care about their future. So really don't lose sight of that. Even if you are making a little bit more money than you had, even if you're finally back working again, don't lose that important value of being frugal. You're listening to the Credit Pros on Real Estate Radio. This is Damon. I'm sitting with Jason. Give us a call. We'd like to speak with you about your credit and finance issues. Our number is 973-771-5118. Again, 973-771-5118, or on the web at creditrepair.to. So what else do we have?
Well, I think we should go, Damon, with a little what they don't want you to know today.
Now, time for what they don't want you to know.
What they don't want you to know. Very interesting tidbit of information, perhaps that you don't know, and I think that your renters. What is what they don't want you to know? Let's say it's what your creditors or the bank or the finance company or the car dealership, what they don't want you to know, because if you know these pieces of information, then you're an informed consumer.
Today's what they don't want you to know, Damon, is not everything reports to the credit bureaus. So they're bills that you're paying because you think you need to pay them because someone told you that you owe them from years ago. They may not be showing up on your credit report. And likewise, the things that you need to show up, like your ATM debit card, may not be and does not show up on your credit report.
Yeah, this is why I'm irritated too. I don't like the whole system is a flawed system. They don't want you to know this because it's only set up to hurt you. If you go and get your Verizon Fios that we were just speaking about, and you're paying every month like a good consumer should, are they reporting that to your credit report? No, they're not. No, they're not. But and we talk about because it costs money to report or whatever the case may be. They could report that to the credit report, and in doing so, would do you, the consumer, a huge favor. And they do report to the credit report when?
Only when you default.
Which is nasty, which is gross. That means that they can report to the credit bureaus, but they're only going to do it if you default on them.
Absolutely.
Which means they're choosing to hurt you, but not choosing not to help you.
I agree. Same thing with banks. Banks could report your ATM debit cards. There's a Visa, there's a MasterCard logo. I'm sure everyone out there has money in their account, as little or as much as it may be. I'm sure you haven't bounced checks in a while. It's not very difficult to report that information, but they'd rather not. The only thing they're going to report is the secured credit cards that you open up with them and you pay fees up the wazoo to have it report.
So we have this whole system here that's set up so that when you do really good in your life and making sure that all of your bills are paid, you are not rewarded. There is no pat on the back.
But if you mess up, they will smush your face in the ground.
That's it. They will crush you like a bug. They will crush you because once those negative items start appearing, it is a slippery slope. And once those problems start happening in your life, it is a slippery slope. And it will happen one after another. And you tell me you're not set up to fail. Tell me you're not set up to fail. And anyone, as the Attorney General says, can do credit repair. It's nonsense. This entire system is nonsense, and I've had it.
And that's what they don't want you to know.
You're listening to The Credit Pros on Real Estate Radio Network. If you hate creditors as much as I do, then pick up the phone and call me because we are two peas in a pod. Well, my number is 973-771-5118. Again, 973-771-5118 or on the web at creditrepair.to.
And just building a little bit now with what they don't want you to know, I think we should do a couple of our credit true false questions because I think that'll fall right back into the realm of what the credit bureaus are trying to hide from the consumer because it's shocking out there what the rules are.
Okay, so let's dive into a credit true or false.
It's credit true or false.
Okay, you want me to give you the first one, Dan?
Why don't you give me the first one, Jason?
Not a problem. If you have a credit card and you close the account but then reopen it, is it the same thing as if you had the card the entire time?
That's not really a true or false question, but
you're right.
No, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. Don't close your credit cards. I hate looking at people's credit reports and it says, because they'll identify this, consumer closed credit card, consumer closed credit, closed at consumer request. You are not helping yourself. I know you feel better that you don't have any of these outstanding credit cards. You're not helping yourself. And when you call me and I tell you that you're not helping yourself and you call back Bloomingdale's and say, Bloomingdale's, please reopen my account because I was foolish and closed it. And they say, okay, yes, we'll reopen it. Then you sort of hurt yourself, right?
Well, usually they don't reopen it. Usually they say they're getting a brand new account. If they
I should say a brand new account.
If they reopened it, it would be fine because what happens is, we talk about it all the time, the age of the items on your credit report make a big difference in your score because it shows a long-lasting relationship with a creditor. You're paying your bills on time and doing something right. That's why the creditor gives you that credit for that extended period of time. When you close it, you can call up Bloomingdale's the day after you close it and ask to reopen it, and they won't. They're just going to give you a brand new account. And what happens is you lost all of that time in which you built up a long-standing relationship with a creditor. The age of the items on your credit report account for a large portion of your score.
Right. So here's what you want to do. Get a big piece of paper out and make 2 check boxes. Close credit cards, yes or no. And you want to make an X in the no box because you don't want to close your credit cards. It just starts a huge amount of problems. Okay, I'm going to give you, Jason, a credit true or false now, except I'm going to do it in the proper credit true or false format. Credit true or false. A small balance on a credit card is better than a zero balance on a credit card. And if so, what way?
That's absolutely true, Damon. And I know that we always talk about utilization rates. So the less amount of money you owe, the better. But when you get down to around $1, you really want to have $1 or some balance on the card rather than a 0 one. Because if you have a 0 balance on your credit card, A, the credit card company can go ahead and close your account, which we already talked about would be bad. But also B, you don't want them to misconstrue your account as an inactive account, because it's only open and active that are good. So you always want to make sure you have enough activity to keep them open and active.
And C, from my personal experience as a credit expert, if you have a little bit of money on those credit cards, you get more points. And I don't know why, because I don't work at the Fair Isaac Corporation, but it's my experience, and my mortgage friends out there will maybe back me up on it, but a little bit of money on those credit cards can go a long way in regards to getting you points.
The rule usually is get as close to $1 as possible, but I'd like to see $5, $10, $15, $20 if possible. But you never, ever in a worst best case scenario, if that
I
makes
hate
any
that, sir.
sense.
No,
if that
it
makes
doesn't
any sense.
make sense.
Worst best case?
I don't. That's a onomatopoeia.
Okay, the worst you want to go is at 30%. Anything over that, you're be doing yourself a disservice.
Right, and you'll want to think again, getting close to $1 as you can get without actually being $1, and don't carry month over month. Don't run up your credit card and pay it off and say, "Oh, I pay my credit card each month." Let me give you an example. Let me be specific with you. If you have a credit card with a $2,000 balance and you go out and you run up $1,900 each month, but pay off $1,900 when you get your statement, they're reporting to the credit bureaus that you have a $1,900 balance against a $2,000 limit. That equates to maxed out. Maxed out. It doesn't matter if you pay it off. It is noble of you. You are a great person. You're hurting yourself. You're not helping yourself.
The credit card companies, for example, report once a month. So if they report on the 15th of the month and you pay it off on the 16th, it doesn't matter to your credit report because they're not going to report the payoff until the following month. And by that time, you probably charged up your card again if that's what you're doing as a behavior. So your balance on your credit report will never go down. It will always stay maxed out. Your score will never be improved because of utilization rates, and you're going to be doing yourself a major disservice.
Yeah, and also if you're trying to get a loan or a mortgage and you're running up those balances pretty high for an underwriter who's going to be looking at that stuff, I'm not sure that looks so spectacular. You want to make sure that you're painting a pretty picture. You know, speaking of mortgages, and I don't even know why I didn't remember this, if you're working with a mortgage broker and you need a good attorney, or if you're not working with a mortgage broker and you need one, or a realtor, I would love to be able to refer one to you. I would suggest you calling me because we're working with really some amazing, amazing people, and I'd love to be able to put you in touch with them. We've come to the end of another wonderful, informative hour at the Credit Pros. I want to thank our guest, Ted, from Network Plus. He has a wonderful, wonderful program. Again, joinnetworkplus.com. Joinnetworkplus.com. New Jersey-focused networking events.
Absolutely, and I usually don't like those things, I'm telling you. If you don't want to go to New Jersey Network Plus, then go to another one. But networking is definitely a way of life, and it definitely has increased my business and my outlook.
So join us again next week for wonderful credit information. Hopefully I'll be in a little bit of a better mood and we can have a nice chat. I'd love to speak with you. Give us a call this week. The Credit Pros and Real Estate Radio, we're always happy to speak with you about your credit problems, about your finance problems, about your real estate issues. Our number is 973-771-5118. Again, 973-771-5118, or on the web at creditrepair.to. See you next week.
Bye, guys.
For all your credit problems, concerns, or questions, call the show's off-air number at 973-771-5118 and speak to the hosts of the show, Damon DiCrescenzo and attorney Jason Kaplan, directly. 973-771-5118. This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info. That's realestateradio.us. For all your credit problems, concerns, or questions, call the show's off-air number at 973-771-5118 and speak to the hosts of the show, Damon DiCrescenzo and attorney Jason Kaplan, directly. 973-771-5118. The preceding program was paid for by Real Estate Radio Network. The hosts are not an employee of WMTR or its parent company, Greater Media. The views and opinions expressed on the Credit Pros on Real Estate Radio New Jersey are not necessarily those of the staff and management of WMTR. Station management has not investigated the claims made in financial service spots that may air during this program. As always, it is advisable to consult a professional before making a major financial decision.